2 years ago, popular sports YouTube channel SB Nation, now known as Secret Base, released a 5-part documentary on the UFC named Fighting in the Age of Loneliness. It outlined the UFC's struggle to gain relevance, bouts with Japanese mafia corruption, and ultimately the sterilization that led to the league we see today. What caught me the most is the concept of a league where any fighting style is permitted, and the amount of unique fighting strategies intrigued me. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, Muay Thai, they were pitted against each other to create these amazing spectacles. Battle rap is my UFC. I think we take for granted just how intricate and full of potential battle rap is. It never ceases to amaze me the unique styles that we've seen throughout history, from New Jersey Twerk's wild and dominant aggression, to T-Top's emotive and performance-filled angling, to B-Dot's rapid-fire conscious scheming. There's so many different ways to approach your opponent. The most intriguing style was in development way before the Twerks, Tops, and B-Dots of the world surfaced. Now, as early as 2003, Loaded Lux was honing his skills, and now with a history of classic battles, Beloved has cemented himself as one of the greatest battle rappers of all time. But what is it that makes Lux so deadly and makes newcomers and veterans alike want to challenge him? Well, in the last part of the Resurgence of Lyricists series, I hope to answer that question by examining the most unique lyricist in battle rap, Loaded Lux.
This ain't back when you was rapping with Hollow. You might be Showtime, just not at the Apollo, nigga. You know how I
know? Loaded Lux is a performance lyricism angling hybrid. When I say hybrid, I generally mean that he specializes in more than 2 attributes. See, most rappers tend to pick 2 attributes to excel in. For B-Dot it was lyricism and angling, for Daylight it's lyricism and punching, but Lux is one of the few hybrid builds that exist in battle rap, and this makes him incredibly deadly off the rip because many of the most powerful people we've seen hit the stage were hybrids. Murder Mook, New Jersey Twerk, and Biz Rothstein are great examples. Loaded Lux is no doubt the most powerful iteration of this concept, though. He's not only a masterclass in 3 attributes, but he even has a tool that lets him dip into a 4th one. But I'm getting ahead of myself. For now, let's start with Beloved's best attribute, lyricism. And I'll just tell y'all off the bat, Lux has the best flow in battle rap's history. In previous videos, I've talked about lyricists having the problem of keeping the crowd's attention. B-Dot used rhyme scheme to combat this problem, and Daylight used comedic timing and cadence. But Lux has complete control and mastery of tempo manipulation, and he employs sequences of slowdowns and speedups to force the crowd's attention. In a weird way, it's kind of hard to even quantify how he uses tempo because it changes so often. And while it functions to give Beloved this almost conversational tone, he can switch it up on a dime when he's ready to deliver a punch.
That's who you thought. This what champions look like, and we don't look like, you look like. I'm Floyd with you boys battle versus. You Jim Lantley, Larry Merch, nigga, you just talk a good fight. Nothing.
He also has a great grasp of rhyme schemes, and he uses these to generate patterns within his round. And just like B-Dot, a lot of his best rounds have long strings of rhyme that serve to extend the theme of the round's content. For example, in his 3rd round against Calico, nearly a quarter of that round followed the same rhyme pattern. Unlike Dot, Lux doesn't tend to use complicated internal rhymes that often. Now, he might have 1 or 2 layers of internals, but for the most part he tends to stick to the simple form. And this is good because I think that functionally, rhyme for Beloved only works to balance his ever-changing tempo and give the listener a theme to latch onto while he shows off his writing skill. On that note, it's probably a good time to start talking about Lux's pen. And if you thought that his flow was something special, you'll be glad to know that Beloved is one of the most creative battle rappers to date. To start, I don't know that there's been a battle rapper with as vast vocabulary as Lux. Having a large word bank can be an invaluable trait, as it opens up exponential possibilities for wordplay and scheming. And this is part of what makes people like New Jersey Twerk so deadly. That word ocean that both Jerus and Beloved have gives them a lot more room to flip words than their opponents. This really shows when Lux starts getting into his punchlines. Like in the Hollow battle, I thought this was a heavy reach until I realized that ween is an actual word that fits perfectly in the context.
Pick the month where in the end, every individual lies. I mean, you can dress it up how you picture it in your mind, but the Halloween outfit, you gonna always be a nigga in disguise.
He's also just generally creative to no end. Whenever I rewatch his rounds, I'm always left with this reaction of how has that not been said yet? And this bodes well for his longevity, that wittiness and attention to detail gives him a wide array of tricks to pull out at any given moment, and any spark of inspiration for him could lead to half a round of material, or better still, when it's filtered and refined, what we end up seeing is the absolute best of it.
Still you laugh. Now I get it, why you did it. Personal shit, why you digging. But if you find any skeletons in my closet, nigga, well, that should tell you how long I had bodies in it. They know what?
As for the actual potency of his pen, Lux is near the top. He's got a really good grasp of scheming, and again, he's able to lean on that vocabulary. Because his word choice is so diverse, he has an incredible pool of options for schemes. And there's not a lot of people who can or would think to use the word riffing in the way that Lux used it in his second round versus Verb. In terms of his actual skill in putting schemes together, I think he almost rivals people like Daylight. Where I think Lux isn't entirely skilled enough to chain schemes together the way Spawn does, I think he's right up there in terms of being able to structure his schemes very effectively.
I'm a mind reader. You gonna be timekeeping the timekeeper. This should have been unlimited, but it's not. Use a tricky nigga, got him to get the clicker on paper, put a hole on me like a ticket clipper. This what you picked, you forgot?
And again, check out that change in flow. It's not often we see him doing fast rapping, but he decides to splash it in. Lux's pen would be nothing if it weren't for his performance though, his second stat. I break performance into 3 categories: energy, vocals, and theatrics. And to start, Beloved is very energetic. Now, don't get me wrong, he's no Danny Myers or Tay Rock, but you can easily tell that a large part of his strategy hinges on keeping the crowd attentive, and these energetic performances do just that. He also has a mastery of vocal performance that we see from very few rappers. Altering your vocals can work wonders to help deliver certain lines, and Beloved has a unique proficiency of this concept. Similar to people like Mike P, Lux knows how to change his cadence to emphasize select portions of his bars, and this aspect has become a staple of his persona.
Handgun with my Prince win. Carlton Banks was still at Princeton when the Gumball King was still at Princeton. Now you fenced in. Now you fenced in.
The deadliest part of Lux's performance is his theatrics. A lot of the time it's small actions that he does that play a big role in creating a certain atmosphere, and it's part of what establishes his transcendent presence on stage. Beloved is probably the only battle rapper where what he's going to wear to the event is a massive factor in the battle. Even when it sometimes comes off as a little corny or goofy, one can still ascertain that there's more to his theater-like performances than antics. These are calculated and purposeful.
That nigga see what's happening.
Shit like that, shit like that.
Bang, 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 bang.
Performance is also a large part of what accentuates his angling prowess, especially considering that Lux is among the most lethal anglers in battle rap. Most importantly because his vision is well into top tier. He not only sees a lot of angles that others wouldn't, he also sees ways to exploit existing angles that transcends the norm. His execution on angles is also incredible. This is partly a function of his pen. His proficiency for literary devices and scheming gives him ammunition. This has resulted in some of the most hard-hitting lines in history. Whether you prefer the angle against Calico or his third against Hollow, it shows the mastery of being able to exploit his opponent's weaknesses. I mean, here in the second round for Verb, this is already a heavy perspective to take, but the way Lux describes it and attaches a scheme to it increases the power tenfold.
In his mind, I got Lux, I got Moot, shoot. I'm already in. How y'all not convinced? Look what I'm against. This is a feast. Your eyes on the prize for him is being in the belly of the beast, the bottom of the pit.
I haven't even talked about Loaded Lux's most powerful ability, the Grey Hoodie. The Grey Hoodie is a point of intrigue for a lot of people. We've only seen it 3 times. versus Midwest Miles in 2005 on the Funk Flex Freestyle, and for a third of a round in the 2-on-2. All of these appearances have cemented Grey Hoodie Lux in battle rap culture as one of, if not the deadliest entity in existence. But what does the Grey Hoodie actually do? Well, the first and most important aspect of the Grey Hoodie is that it gives Beloved an all-encompassing boost in punching. Now, I wouldn't say it turns him into Rum Nitty or anything, but having mastery in 3 attributes already makes Lux incredibly powerful. When you give him a 4th, it makes him almost unbeatable. And he's been unbeatable with it on. He 30'd Miles, his Flex Freestyle is among the greatest of all time, and most would say that he clearly won the 3rd round against Tay-Rock in chess. The crazy thing is that I would expect there to be problems with Lux mixing all these battling styles together. One of the problems with mixing styles is that it hurts your consistency, which is something that we've seen historically with New Jersey Twerk. But surprisingly, Grey Hoodie Lux is incredibly seamless with his punches, and he retains that signature scheming and wordplay ability. Literally 2 bars into his first for Miles, he's already spit some punches that are almost a decade ahead of his time.
That's why I make that ass look bad like stretch marks. Catch hard feelings and slack up like high waters, the tide's on you. I'm back for the side order. Try on a man.
Today, the Grey Hoodie has an even more powerful function. Because it's so rarely used, it seems like Lux basically wins any round he brings it out, and this puts it near, if not at the top of the food chain for special moves in battle rap. Despite all these strengths, I think Beloved does have some weaknesses. First and most obvious is choking. It's almost inevitable with such a complicated and complex style that there would be some consistency problems, and as such, Lux is no stranger to choking and stumbling. Luckily, I think he does a good job of keeping these to a minimum, even though one of his best known moments is a choke.
Came here playing. It's cool, but y'all gonna leave giving head counts. They didn't even book you niggas rooms. I told them Harlem Hospital giving beds out.
He's also very prone to being barked on. His smaller frame doesn't do much for him physically, and it makes it really hard for him to establish dominance over his opponents, and he doesn't really have that great of a poker face. His persona does help compensate for this. Like B-Dot, Lux has this woke presence that belittles his opponents, but I could see the more dominant battle rappers of the current day giving him trouble on the aggressive front. But I think his biggest problem is filtering. Like Daylight, Lux seems to have these ideas that are great in concept, but he can't really execute on them as well as he needs to sometimes. It's best to just cut him out. But Beloved seems to have trouble refining his rounds, which can lead to reaches and bars just not working. Like, I don't think this works as well as he thinks it does.
These sons of butchers, it's all in the battle footage. We looking at how your mom's at. When a bitch nigga think they got your number, turns out they just taking contact, nigga. Let's calm back.
But all things considered, it's no wonder so many people see Lux as the greatest of all time. He's a battle rap anomaly, a phenom. He truly has the ability to beat anyone in the league. And the crazy part is that Lux has only been improving throughout his career, and might still be honing his skills. He seems to have that same uncertain trajectory as Daylight. Until we see him on stage again, it's hard to say whether he's on an incline or a decline. But for now, the future looks incredibly bright for Loaded Lux. So before I end this video off, I wanted to do another impromptu thing, just, shouting out Daylight and B-Dot for promoting my videos. I didn't think these videos would do that well when I first started making them, but it seems like people are gravitating to them pretty well, so that's great. Shout out B-Dot and Daylight for that. Also, shout out Let's Talk Battle Rap. I recently joined their team, and it's a great opportunity for me, and I'm happy that I get to be involved with the culture as more than just a fan, because I've always thought of battle rap as an art. And so I'm glad to be making videos for Let's Talk Battle Rap, and I have great content coming out very soon on their channel. So make sure you subscribe to their channel. Make sure you catch their streams on Caffeine. And speaking of which, I've gotten a lot of messages from people wondering if I stream on Caffeine or Twitch or something. and it wasn't really something I was considering, but it's something that I'm thinking about now. You know, if people are interested in seeing my thought process on how I, you know, rank battle rappers and evaluate them, then I would be happy to start streaming on Caffeine just to give people a glimpse of that. And let me know who you want me to evaluate next. I was thinking of doing New Jersey Twerk. He seems to be stabilizing now, and I already have a script half done for him, so I think that might be my next target. And yeah, if you want to see more of these videos, make sure you subscribe, follow my Twitter, all that. And thanks for watching.